Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Zahra Itiara Masari. As a moderator in this presentation with the topic The Power of Words, investigating how language influence our thoughts and perceptions. That will be presented by Richa Amelia Putri. To Richa, time is yours.
Okay, give me a second for preparing my presentation.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, there's no language. Now I'm going to explain the power of words, investigating how the language influence our thought and perception. The material, the first is the influence of words in communication, language and identity. Language and identity, the influence of words in psychology, language and ethics. The first is the language crucial for humans for insight building relationship and conflict intentions and goals in communication. The importance of the selling the right to convey the intended meaning accurately. Number two is the language and identity. So, highlight the interrelation between language and identity, particularly focusing on the Indonesian language and its role in shaping national identity of Indonesia. Third, how language represents the markers of identity. Language the symbol and national affiliation. Just how language can be used as a tool to build bridges between the new members and the existing or the use of noise. Overall, portraying as a fundamental aspect for the culture that reflects and reflects the individual and the group identity. Number two, influence of language in psychology. Highlights the importance of the word choice in communication, stressing the interrelation of the between language and mind. Biological and experimental factors play a role in language development, with the language and mind contributing for those in cognitive performance. And number four, language and ethics. Ethics in linguistic governs how we use language consciously and affect curriculum cultural difference around the world. Linguistic ethics including the appropriate use of language, governance, the university of language variation, understanding and respecting the role of the linguistic ethics, effective communication, respect for the cultural diversity of the world. Example is including third day, rather than them. In the linguistic not only communication but also character and for your attention. Okay, thanks for your presentation, Richa. Now I will open a Q&A session. If you want to ask, you can raise your hand and put your question in the chat box. Okay, so here we have a question from Nazila. How does language shape our thoughts and perception according to the study of linguistics? For the presenter, you can answer it.
Okay, thank you for the question, Nazila. How does language shape our thought and perception according to the study of the linguistic? The study of the linguistics suggests that language plays a crucial role in the shaping our thought and perception in the several ways. The first is the linguistic relationship, the theory of the linguistic relationship, also known of the Sophia verb hypnotism. And then the second one is the cognitive categories. Language provides us a framework for organizing and the categorizing our thought. And then number three is the metaphorical thinking. Language often the release or metaphors or convey abstract concepts. And the number four is there is a cultural norms and values. Language reflect cultural norms, values, and beliefs. And the last is perceptual filters. Language acts as a perceptual filters through the way which we interpret our experience. Overall, the study of the linguistics highlights the interrelationship between language, thought, and the perception. That is the answer.
Okay, thank you, Richa. Is there any question?
Okay. No.
If there are no question, I will end this presentation. Thank you for Richa for presenting your material. We will move to the next presenter, Zahra, as a moderator. Say goodbye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Najila Rahmadana as a moderator in this presentation with topic pragmatic, exploring how context influence the interpretation of language. That will be present by Zahra Ihtiramasari. To Zahra, time is yours.
Sorry for a long wait. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Zahra Ramasari. And this I want to present my material is about pragmatics, exploring how context influence the interpretation of language. So let's start with the first. So the first material is definition of pragmatics. Pragmatics is the study of how language is used in real-life conversation. It looks at how context and social cause help us to understand what people really mean beyond just the word they say. It looks at how context, like who is talking, where they are, and what they know about each other, affect what words mean and how they are understood. For example, like saying it's cold in here might mean please close the window if someone wants to stay warm. So pragmatics help us to understand these hidden meanings and how communication works beyond just the word themselves. So that is the definition of pragmatics.
So next is the definition of pragmatics according to experts. Here I have three experts. The first one is from Morris. He said that pragmatic is the study of the relation between science and interpreters. Pragmatic theory explains the reason or thoughts of speakers and listener in the complaining correlation in the context of sentence signed with a preposition, plan or problem. In this case, pragmatic theory is product performance. Another one is from Krida Laksana. It says pragmatic is also defined as the condition that cause the harmonized use of language in communication. The aspect of language use or the context outside the language that contribute to the meaning of the utterance. And the last one is from Parker. He said pragmatic is distinct from grammar, which is the study of the internal structure of language. Pragmatics is the study of how language is used to communicate. So that is the definition of pragmatics according to expert. Next, we have the history of pragmatics. The use of term pragmatics was popularized by a philosopher named Charles Morris, who has a great interest in the science of science, or semiotics. In semiotics, Morris distinguished three different branches of inquiry. One of them is pragmatics, which is the study of the relationship between science and interpretation. At first, pragmatics was mostly treated as a basket where unexplained data is stored, i.e. language data in communication related to the meaning of intent. This is because the early generation of linguistics thought that meaning or intent was too abstract to be studied. But gradually, a certain awareness has emerged in the linguistic world, namely that meaning or intent can be researched and understood. In summary, history of pragmatics is from Bloomfield generation. Linguistic mean paeonic or panomic. They consider syntax too abstract to be researched and understood. The attitude and the views of Bloomfield generation changed into late 1950s. Chomsky found the center point of syntax, so syntax began to be researched and understood. However, he still considered meaning too complicated to think about seriously. The beginning of 1916, Katz and his found a way to incorporate meaning into formal theories of linguistics, and shortly afterward the Spirit of California or BUS had pragmatics covered. And finally, in 1971, Lakoff and others argued that syntax cannot be separated from the study of language use. From then on, pragmatics entered the linguistic map. So that is the history of pragmatics. So the next part is context in pragmatics. Okay. Pragmatics is closely related to context. This is because context is something that becomes a mean of meaning and attention that occurs around us. Context is never separated from pragmatics, whose purpose is to understand the intention hidden through utterance. Let's take a look from the example. So, when we ask someone about the purpose or meaning of an utterance, we often don't get immediate answer. Someone who often When we ask someone about the purpose or meaning of an utterance, we often don't get immediate answer. But instead of get a quarter question, for example, the context first. Well, from this response, we can conclude that the meaning or intention of a language or speech is determined by the context. Then what exactly is meant by context? Why should meaning be determined by context? Can we not interpret speech or language without context? To answer this question, let us consider the following two illustrations. So here you can see the example. There are two illustrations. Wait a minute. And illustration number 2 is a dialogue. So the mom say, "Are you leaving for Ding tomorrow?" The child answered, "Relax, mom, there's already a thick jacket." And mom answered, "Thank goodness for that." So the explanation of these two illustrations, the first illustration is the cashier sign. The meaning discussed is a cashier. The word is found in two places, on the wall and on the table. Is the meaning the same or different?
So here we have the two illustrations. The first one is in a shop that sells signboard. There is a signboard that reads cashier and attached to the wall where example of the shop's work are displayed. The sign that says cashier, there is also one table where customers pay for their purchases. And illustration number 2 is a dialogue. So the mom say,
Recording in progress.
"Are you leaving for Ding tomorrow?" The child answered, "Relax, mom, there's already a thick jacket." And mom answered, "Thank goodness for that." So the explanation of these two illustrations. The first illustration is the cashier sign. The meaning discussed is a cashier. The word is found in two places, on the wall and on the table. Is the meaning the same or different? In this way, you have answered the meaning of the two is different, and the different is a location. The location that distinguish the two meanings of the same word, namely cashier,
Recording
is
stopped.
what is called context. The cashier on the wall is intended as an example of showcase so that people are interested in ordering a signboard at the shop. In this case, it is not the content that is important, but the object, the signboard. Meanwhile, cashier on the table is made for the purpose of communicating to shop visitors that the cashier on the table cashier is there, and if you buy something in the shop, then pay at the place where there is cashier on the signboard. So the difference between that, and in illustration number 2, there is a conversation between mother and her child. The mother asks for confirmation whether her son is going to Ding. The child, instead of answering yes or no, answer with an answer that has no relevance to the question. However, if you look at the mother's response, it turns out that the child the child's answer is not problematic and is understood by the mother. Why can the mother understand the child's answer? It is because the mother has understood the context. From the conversation, it can be seen that it was not the first conversation that discussed the theme of her child's departure. It is possible that in a previous conversation, the child told his mother about the plan to go to Ding. Because the mother already knew that the Ding arc was cold, she suggested bringing a thick jacket, which her son did not have at that time. So that in the conversation, in illustration number 2, the mother question about whether or not to go to Ding is interpreted by her son as his mother concerned because she had not previously provided a thick jacket. From the two illustrations that have been explained, we can see that context is very important in understanding the meaning of language or speech in a communication. Meaning can indeed be understood without using context, as in illustration number 1. But when language is used as a means of communication, context inevitably must be an important part in understanding meaning.
Aku nggak bisa berbagi layar nih. Karena pakai HP.
So that is the example. Let's move on to the next, the last material, which is conclusion. Pragmatics is a branch of linguistics that study the use of language in communication and how context influence the meaning of utterance. Its history began with Charles Morris, who divided semiotics into syntax, semantics, and pragmatics. Morris emphasized the importance of context is understanding language. Context is crucial in pragmatics because it helps explain the hidden intent behind the utterance. Context include the speaker, interlocutor, time, place, and psychological condition. So that is the last material for me. Thank you for your attention. I give it back to moderator.
What exactly is language context? Language context refers to the situations where multiple languages are used in the same place at the same time. Language context can be flexible modeling. For instance, the words one language of the world.
Okay, thanks for thanks for your presentation, Zahra. I will open Q&A session with one question. If you want to ask, you can raise your hand.
There are social factors that influence, such as political events and language policies. These factors influence the extent and nature of language contact. Additionally,
Okay, so I want to asking how does pragmatic affect the interpretation of the meaning in the everyday conversation? That is my question. Thank you.
Okay, this time give a chance to us. Give it to Zahra. Time is yours.
These nations have multiple language but in regular contact with each other. This situation has led to the establishment of research centers.
Okay, so first I want to answer the question from Rija. How does pragmatics affect the interpretation of meaning in the everyday conversation? So, pragmatic affect an interpretation of meaning in everyday conversation by helping us understand what people really mean based on the context. So here's how. The first one is context. It takes into account where the conversation happen, who is talking, and what they already know. And the second one is intent. It helps us figure out what the speaker intends. And the third is implied meaning. It helps us read between the lines. For example, if someone say, "I have a lot of work to do," they might be implying they can't join you. The fourth, action with words. It looks at what action are done with words, like apologizing with "I'm sorry," example, "I'm sorry," like that. And number five is reference word. It helps interpret words like this, that, here, and there, based on the situation. Number six is politeness. It guides how polite or formal we need to be, which change how we say things. For example, "Could you please be quiet?" is more polite than like "be quiet." Number seven is indirect messages. It's help understand indirect messages. For example, "Is there any more coffee?" might mean "Can I have more coffee?" So in short, pragmatics is about understanding that hidden meaning and context in conversation, making communication clearer and more effective. So that is the answer from Richa question. Now I'm gonna answer the question from Nazila.
Oh, Kalia yang nanya bukan aku.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, wait a minute.
Borrowing words from other languages has several interconnected a reason for borrowing multicultural sections, such as media and fashion, introduced new concepts that do not have native terms. Words like sushi from Japanese and pizza from Italian are used for what? Firstly, it enriches vocabulary of traditional and new words and terms. This is why linguistic dictionaries often contain a variety of subjects of dialectics. Borrowing also facilitates culture exchange. Over centuries, languages and cultures have come into contact, especially in traditions like Europe, leading to extensive borrowing of words. Moreover, borrowing can result in language variations. Sometimes,
Tak dulu Rica, jangan share dulu Rica. Aku masih belum mengangong-angong. Jangan di share muka aku ngangong-ngangong, Neng. Pragmatics has a close relationship with both syntax and semantics. From the syntax side, syntax involves the rules and structure governing sentence formation.
Aduh.
Pragmatic relies on this structure to interpret meaning in context. For pragmatics,
maksudnya pertanyaannya enggak maksudnya pertanyaannya diberi berapa, cuma satu kesempatan. Iya,
Gak ada lagi, udah satu saja.
iya, sudahkah?
Iya.
Ah, ya.
Enggak apa-apa, tanya aja Kak dulu. Enggak apa-apa, boleh aja Kak lebih gitu.
Apa aja kalau
Enggak apa aja maksudnya. Enggak harus satu penanya gitu nah. Kamu udah nyari juga jawabannya. Singkat-singkat aja. Menurutmu
kalau
gimana?
mau nanya lagi gitu. Itu kebiasaan PMB, habisan paket sudah dari 5 GB buat sebulan, tunggu 5 GB gitu sehari ya.
Okay, I want to answer gitu kah? Langsung kah? Okay, I want to answer the question from Alia Rohani. So the question is, do you think pragmatics has a close relationship with syntax and semantic? Yes, because in syntax involves the rules and structure governing sentence formation. Pragmatics relies on this structure to interpret meaning in context. For example, the syntactic structure of a sentence can influence its pragmatic interpretation, such as identifying who is performing an action or the focus of a statement. And for semantic deals with the meaning of words and sentences in more abstract, context-independent way. Pragmatics extend this by considering context and how meaning can change based on the different situational factor. While semantic might tell us what a sentence can mean, pragmatic tell us what a speaker mean in a particular context. While syntax provides the form and semantic the basic meaning, pragmatics adds the layer of contextual interpretation necessary for effective communication. So that is my answer.
Thank you so much, Richa, for the answer. Okay, we move to the next speaker. It is Azari Kurniawan. Want to presenting his article, and time is yours, Azari.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So, let me share up my screen.
Fuck, man. Tunggu anjing. Ya Allah.
Alright. In this topic, I bring about the morphology. Morphology. So, morphology, unraveling the mysteries of morphology as a word structure. And the next. Sorry, I think my device is getting the trouble. Alright, the next table of the contents. The point number 1 is abstract. Number 2, introduction. And 3, result. Now, number 4, discussion. Number 5, conclusion. So, what is the morphology? Morphology, unraveling the mysteries of morphology as a word structure. So, in morphology is like a word structure, spark and motiveless discussion that solves into the core principles and implication of this interaction, linguistic and therefore. That is hard list and exploration of the intricate web of morphological components that intervene the structure word within a language. Move the next slide. Abstract. This point about the abstract. This study was made of exploration into the effect fabric of language, delving into the fundamental component that shape words and gives them meaning. Next, introduction. So, in introduction, morphology is the branch of linguistics that deals with the study of the structure and form the form of word in language. It examines how words are formed, their internal structure, and what is it? Wait. The pattern they will in different language. Next.
Fourth order refers to the way words are arranged in a sentence. The order of words
So this topic about the session result. The result of unfair my mysteries of morphology is a word structure yield proven insight into the fundamental architecture of language through methods analysis and exploration linguistic uncover the intricate pattern and rules that govern how words are formed, modified, and related within a linguistic system. This differ understanding of morphology immunities. The rich tapestry of word structure, revealing the underlying main change that shape the locution of a language. Next. And from the discussion, based on the research finding, unraveling the mysteries of morphology as a word structure spark and multifaceted discussion that delves into the core principle and implication of this intricate linguistic. So, move back. What is the prefix? Prefix is a set letter added to the beginning of the word to create a new word with a modified or different meaning. What is the suffix? A suffix is a letter or group of letters. For example, li or nas, which is added to the end of a word in order to form a different word. Often of a different word class. And the next, what is affix? In morphology, affix are a type of morpheme, a part of a word with its own meaning. For example, the word disappearance has three morphemes: the root word, over, and the two affix, this and age. Next. So, in this topic about the a prefix. Here prefix is in bahasa is awalan, and then base word is verb. In bahasa kata utamanya, and then suffix is in bahasa akhiran like this: immortality, and next unfortunately, miscollection, and the last bringment like this. Okay, move the next. So this is prefix, root word, and suffix. The prefix is in bahasa seperti apa namanya di awal seperti tadi, and then root words. Ini kata kerja utamanya, and then the suffix is in bahasa akhiran or the finish. For example, rewrite like this. Maybe in next slide.
Thank you. Maybe that's all I can.
So the verb is motivation. So the motive is as a noun, and a suffix.
Give it back to the moderator.
Tion is suffix also, and the motivate is verb motive, and the motivation is noun or in bahasa kata benda. So next, independently. So in is as a affix, and then defend is the verb as a verb. And this is affix, and ly as a affix also. This is adjective, adverb, like this. Next slide. Wait. Sorry. Lama tadi. Okay, conclusion. Unfurling the mysteries of morphology as a word structure engenders multi-phase discussion that span theoretical, empirical, and applied dimensions. Through this discourse, scholars not only defend their understanding of the fundamental principle of language, but also unlock a treasure trove of knowledge with far-reaching implication for diverse fields and disciplines. Wait. Okay, I think that's all my explanation about the morphology. I will thank you for the attention. I will back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Azari Kurniawan, for explanation. And for everyone, is there any questions? You can write in chat box.
Okay, I have a question for So my question is, what is the difference between the morphemes word and the perhaps in the morphological analysis? Thank you.
All right.
Okay, Azari, time is yours for answer questions.
Sure, you can.
All right. Thank you. Wait a minute.
Questions in the chat box. Okay, Larissa, let me answer your question. The fundamental rules of syntax-based programming of sentence vary across language and significantly influence both the structure and meaning of sentence. That's how do the does the fundamental rules actually determine the structure meaning of sentence in different language.
Alright, I will answer the question from Richa Melia Putri. So, what is the difference between morphemes, words, and phrases? What is it? And morphological analysis. So, because I not bring the about the topic the morphemes, but there is a relationship about it. I will just because I not to bring about the topic, but so what the morphemes? Morphemes, the smallest unit of meanings in a language. They cannot what is that? They cannot broken down picture, and then words. Word is like a component. Component that is word and in bahasa kata kerja. Alright. And back to the next morphological analysis. Morphological analysis analyze about a lot of all about the morphological. Okay, that's my answer. Richa Melay Putri, how about my answer?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for Richa Amalia Putri and then Azari Kurniawan. And we move to the next speakers. And thank you so much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yes, ini. Right. Alright, continue with the next speakers. Nazila Ramadhani. Can you starting your article or your PowerPoint now for explanation?
I will presentation my article with title Introduction to Social Linguistics, examining the relationship between language and society. Introduction. Social linguistics as an interdisciplinary field of study integrates principles of sociology and linguistics to explain how humans use words in various social situations. Its main purpose is to analyze the actual use of language in a particular cultural context, including language choice or dialect, as well as the topic and context of speech. In this study, it is understood how social attitudes towards language shape language society, as well as how language function as a means of interaction in societal activities. Result and discussion. Definition of
Gak mau pakainya. Gak mau. Ya sini. Sabar. Malu bro. Anjing lah. Social linguistics is a field of study that combines two disciplines, namely sociology and linguistics. As an interdisciplinary discipline, sociolinguistics aims to explain the human ability to use language rules appropriately in various situations. According to Abdul Shair and Leonie Agustina, social linguistics is concerned with the analysis of actual language use, such as pattern of language or dialect used in a particular cultural context. The choice of language or dialect used made by speaker, as well as the topic and context of the conversation. B. Language variety. Language is the main medium for social interaction activities in human life. In the process of social interaction, the perpetrators always use various variations of language according to the situation and context of speech. According to the culture that has been attached to the community of users, according to the way and purpose of communication. The group of people who carry out social interaction is very heterogeneous, giving rise to different variations of the language used. So the difference in language from heterogeneous user is called language variation. Therefore, language variation are different in language from regional and cultural aspect of society, individual and group. Language use, language form, both forms of language element, stylistic forms and also rhetorical forms. Language and society. Definition of society and understanding of language society can be grasped by considering language, social groups, social networks, and individual that hierarchically describes states of abstraction. The idealistic foundation consisted of homogeneous social groups and language community. A language community is a human group whose members communicate with each other regularly communicate and they speak the same language. 2. Language community based on interaction. 3. Language society as psychological subjective interpretation. Conclusion. Social linguistics is a branch of science that study the dynamic relationship between language and society, focusing on how language varieties and language behavior are formed, influenced, and changed by social, cultural, and psychological context. Language varieties are manifestation of variation in language use that are influenced by factors such as social, cultural, geographical, and situational context. Language variety not only reflects the identity and social affiliation of speaker, but also serves as a tool of adoption and negotiation in social interaction. Thanks for attention. Sudah, nggak usah bertanya. Maka tadi sudah menyiapkan. Aku ja.
Nadila Ramadan.
Kamu nggak mau aku tanyain?
Continue with the next session is Q&A. Who is want to give a question?
Kamu yakin sih nanti kurang loh? Nggak ada yang bertanya.
Ya nggak ada gitu, nggak ada yang bertanya.
Jawab Zah. Nggak ada yang bertanya gitu.
Voting.
Hello everyone, and this is my article. I want to give explanation about my article. My article is the title Morphology Structure of the Word, and we have to know introduction. What is morphology? Morphology is the study of the structure of the word. Morphology analyzes the internal structure of the word, and also words are made up of morphemes. Next. Why is morphology important for us to learn? The first is the form of a word can give us important information about its function. The second, if we learn to analyze the structure of the word, we may understand the meaning of new word. The third is morphology is very unpredictable. Guys, izin tanya, ini udah di record atau belum?
Sudah Kak, tapi pakai HP soalnya laptopnya nggak bisa.
Okay. Next, we move to morpheme. Morpheme is the smallest meaningful unit, and the meaning that a morpheme gives can be like grammatical. For instance, the part of speech if the word is plural or singular, the tense of the word. The second is lexical, that is the dictionary meaning, and the last both grammatical and lexical. For the example, like co-write, and we can see like lexical, like together, co and write for put such as for is noun and then as plural. And we move to the next slide. Type of morphemes: free and versus bound morphemes. Free can stand alone as parrots word, such as like single morphemes, such as like han, kill, the play, child book, and others, the example, and then bone cannot occur on their own as separate words, such as like affix, as in dogs, nest in happiness, and add in walk. Next, there is any differences also in morphology about talk about derivation and inflection. And derivation is it changes the category and or the type of meaning of the word to create a new word. For the example, suffix like man in government. Inflection, it does not change either the grammatical category or the type of meaning found in the word, such as like suffix as in the books. It's mean like we put the s in the end of the word that's cannot to make a main change of the word. That just inflection itself. Okay, English inflectional morphemes we can see in nouns as for plural and apostrophe s is for possessive. And then next we move to verb. Verb as describe about third person singular present. Ed is describe about past tense and describe about past participle. And then ing is describe about progressive. And also we can see in inflection morphem in adjective like is for describe comparative, and then as describe about superlative. And we can review about morphemes. Morphemes divided into two is free and bound. Free is include like lexical and functional, and the bound inflectional and derivational. Maybe just that from me. Thank you so much for your. Oke, terima kasih Rica.
Oke Kak, sama-sama. Okay, because there's no question, let's back to the main room. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.